Welcome to the Weekend Review. It is the 10th day of November, 2024, and I want to welcome you to the show that talks wrestling, hopefully better than most podcasts that you hear, but if you're new to the show, then thank you for giving us a try, and if you're a longtime listener, I appreciate you as well, and we've got an interesting set of topics here to talk about tonight as we had Kevin Owens perform one of the maneuvers that many of us didn't think we'd ever see in WWE ever again in the Piledriver on Randy Orton. We've got a number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship over on Raw. We've also got a new women's mid-card championship in the United States Championship, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. We'll start the show off with that in a minute, but I want to welcome you to the WWE Podcast, as I said, and you want to go ad-free, patreon.com is the place to do it. Many of you listen through Patreon, and you get everything ad-free. So why don't you join the team, head over to Patreon, and right now, if you're a new Patreon subscriber, and you want to go on the annual side of things, you right now can get an annual membership to Patreon, 50% off if you use the code Bloodline. Those that are existing members on the monthly side, if you try to switch over to annual and put the code Bloodline in, it might work. Patreon hasn't got back to me yet on that, but I know new members can put the code of Bloodline in, and right now, only for the next couple of days, if you use the code Bloodline for an annual membership on any tier, it gets you 50% off. So this is not going to last. I'm telling you right now. I'm probably going to pull the promotion in the next couple of days. So if you're interested, let me know, or just sign up. Alrighty, so let's talk about the women's mid-card championship. We're going to get to the return of the OG Bloodline minus Paul Heyman. We'll get to the Piledriver. We'll talk about the new number one contenders. We'll talk about Jade and Bianca. We'll get to all that. And you can listen to the full SmackDown review that was posted in this feed just before this one. But let's talk about the women's mid-card championship, which is the United States Championship. So the women finally have it. Those of you who have been advocating for the women's divisions to have a mid-card championship, well, here you go. Now, does Raw return in kind with a Intercontinental Champion? Perhaps. Or is this a champion that can float? I don't know yet. Maybe you guys do, but I can see Raw also doing this, which now solidifies for the end of time, the way the WWE has run the women's divisions, that you will have every single match with everyone all the time on the women's side about a championship. That was already a problem to begin with, if you deem it a problem. But now you're going to have everything always and forever about a championship, and personal feuds are going to probably be few and far between. Not that they won't ever happen, but given the amount of time that the women already get on both shows relative to the men, and now that they're trying to really put the women on equal footing with the men in the number of championships, it doesn't compute, right? The math doesn't math here. You're going to have almost everything about the championships, which, maybe to some of you is a good thing, but as I've said, the women have a United States Championship over on SmackDown. Raw will probably follow in kind with the Intercontinental Championship. But I know some of you have been looking forward to this, and I hope it goes well. I really do. I'm not rooting for the demise of this championship or the division. I really do truly hope that it goes well. And are the women deserving of it? Well, yeah, I think the women who do bust their ass are working or are deserving of it. But WWE has had an issue since the women's division has been in existence, right? Since time in memoriam with the women, that they have little consistency with the amount of airtime on the show. And especially on Raw, now going to 2 hours, hopefully forever, although I don't know if it's going to be forever. I don't have a lot of faith that if they introduce a new championship on Raw too, that they're going to be really prudent to make sure that the women get the time they deserve. The women just simply need more time. Minutes on the show. Quality minutes, not just filler. Quality. I don't need a match just to check a box that we've seen so many times before. Maybe I'm just so sour on how poorly they've managed the women's tag team championships. And that maybe that's not fair, because tag team championships as a whole in WWE have been managed terribly. Even the men. How many times have you seen the men's tag team championships get put on the back burner, forgotten for weeks or months at a time? It's a chronic issue with tag team championships. So perhaps this singles championship that the women are introducing, and again, maybe a counterpart on Raw, things will be different, and they will treat this a little bit more respectfully, to say the very least. So I wanted to put my 2 cents out there. You guys know how I feel about it. I wanted them to show me that they can manage the championships they have before giving them more to work with. That's what I wanted. And yes, it does allow women who might not otherwise get an opportunity at the Women's World Championship or the WWE Women's Championship, an opportunity to compete for a rung on the ladder to eventually get to the point of challenging for a women's championship. And from that perspective, I think that's a net positive. It's not just, main title for the women or bust. Again, forget about the tag team titles. I'm talking about singles. It allows progression, right? It allows a mile marker for someone. And it also will allow women to add to their resumes. Who's going to be the first women's championship, United States Women's Championship, right? Who's going to be the first ever woman intercontinental champion? Who's going to be the first United States Women's United States champion? There's a lot of positives that come here. I wanted to just give you guys my honest thoughts here. With the women's championship being added to a division that has already shown, and a company that has already shown that they have trouble managing the ones they already have. So there. But I do wish it the best. I do wish the United States Championship for the women the best. I'm sure the women in the division are actually very happy. If they were listening to this, they'd probably listen in disgust. But it is what it is. That's how I feel. I'm hesitantly pessimistic about it, if that makes sense. I'm hesitantly pessimistic, but looking forward to being proven wrong. So we'll see. Alrighty. Also on SmackDown. Now, Amanda went over this on her SmackDown review. We had a move that many of us never thought we'd have. And was it delivered in the most crisp, devastating fashion, most visually pleasing? No, it was not. So there is that. Okay, it was two guys who are doing this in a company that has not allowed a pile driver in 20 years. That's something that is, that's a big responsibility. You don't want to F it up and actually injure a guy. It is also inherently high risk. It's not just part of the show. That is true. When you're simulating trying to dump a guy directly on top of his head, there's inherent additional risk that comes with that, including an increased risk of paralysis and death. So, I mean, that's real, as we all know, which is why it's been banned and why it should continue to be banned. And I don't want to see it in, matches on a regular basis, like chair shots to the head. Do I wish there was a way to introduce these in a way that did not increase the risk of injury or death? Yeah, pile drivers are awesome. How awesome are pile drivers? They're freaking awesome. I mean, let's be real. The pile driver is one of the most well-known maneuvers of all time, even if you're not a wrestling fan. Everybody knows what a pile driver is. So, yes, you have the tombstone. Tombstone's a little more controlled. Sometimes it's called the tombstone pile driver in its full name. But the regular pile driver that you sit backwards and not lean forwards on does increase the risk. And having Kevin Owens do this to Randy Orton in their interaction, in their scuffle, pushing the referees out of the way, kicking Randy Orton, bam, pile driver. It looked like the most safe pile driver of all time, but the effect is still the same. To be able to build on this. I don't know if we'll see another where Randy does it to Kevin. That could be the payoff. And I really like this. This is something that you would never see, I don't think, under Vince. I don't think you would have saw something like this under Vince. Once it's banned, that's it. You get fined if otherwise, right? And we saw this actually in the Triple H Undertaker match. I think it was WrestleMania 27. I'd have to go back and look. Somebody's going to correct me. But it was their what was it? First encounter. I think it was their first encounter before the match with Shawn Michaels as a special guest referee. And I remember, so it may have been WrestleMania 26 then, because WrestleMania 25, no, it was 27 because 26 was Shawn's last match. 27 and 28 were Triple H's two. Okay, so I think I am correct, but that's beside the point. They had a spot in that match where Triple H, I believe, hit Undertaker in the head with a chair. And at that point, they had already banned that maneuver. They both ended up getting fined. Both Undertaker and Triple H both ended up getting fined by Vince, as they should have. So you don't see banned maneuvers done very often. And you heard the announcers, Michael Cole and Corey Graves, both saying, that maneuver is banned for a reason. They were freaking out. And they sold it well. Randy Orton sold it well. He looked like he had been shocked. He's been rolled into an ambulance and heads to the hospital. It was great. Just well done. Do I wish it was executed better? Yeah, sure, I do. But still, just brilliant story, because it not only created a little shock of like, oh my God, I thought that was banned. What are they doing? But it also added legitimate heat to Kevin, who has been beloved by fans for a long time now. He's been on his babyface run for a long time, and it's sometimes tough to turn the fans against somebody that they've loved for so long. And Kevin has had several heel turns in his past, as we all know, well documented. He's turned on everybody that he's ever aligned with, I think. But it's instant heat because people are shocked, they're scared, they're angry, they want immediate revenge on Kevin. This is really a win-win all the way around. And a solid 9 out of 10 when it comes to execution and when it comes to effectiveness of what they're trying to achieve with this story. Kevin and Randy, A+ here, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what Survivor Series brings for these two. All right, let's go through a SmackDown a little bit finer in detail, as the beginning of the show saw some resistance from Roman Reigns to put their past behind them, him and Sammy's past behind them. And we had Sammy tell Roman that the kick to the face wasn't intentional at the PLE at Crown Jewel, and that he only showed up for Jay, and he told Roman that it had been a long time since they'd been in the ring together, and he had thought of everything he would say, but revealed that being in the ring together at Crown Jewel brought up memories of a time of his career when the four of them felt like family. He said those times were special, and he knew that had it all felt, I think I read that wrong, when they were in the ring together. But Sammy said the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And he knows that Roman isn't indifferent to him. He then said he could run all of it back again and mentioned riding in a bus and doing their handshake and Roman looking jacked and cool. Sammy then told him if he wanted to leave and never get involved in the bloodline business again, and he knows that that he wants the good times back. And Sami Zayn noticed a smirk on Roman's face, and Sami said that he wanted one thing in order to put the band back together, and that was an apology. Roman piped up and asked if Sami wanted an apology from him, and Sami said he wanted an apology for Jay. Roman acted like he was going to apologize, but then said he was sorry that Jay wasted his time with this. He said the problem is Solo, and asked him to come to the ring, and Sami left and went backstage. And so, yeah, I mean, Jacob Fatu then appeared, but we got no apology from Roman. Didn't happen. And, they left the crowd a little bit disappointed. But even if the end of the show didn't happen, which is, we'll talk about that with the reuniting, they could have strung this out another week. They really could have, but they didn't. It was just a nice progression. It's, as I mentioned, along this whole reuniting build and execution, I have really applauded it for being realistic. Everybody didn't just say, yeah, I remember you. Remember how great remember all the good times we had? Forget all the bad times. Let's talk about the good times. No. They acknowledge that everybody's had problems with everybody. There's no combination of individuals, any two individuals in that group that didn't have an issue. So it makes sense that it's going to take time to heal wounds. And that's the smart thing here. Everyone just didn't come back together and one big hug and everything's a water under the bridge. No, this makes sense. So a nice progression here, albeit what happens at the end of the show here. Okay, so Candice LeRae and Bayley then took place on SmackDown, and, Bayley beats Candice LeRae in 8.5 minutes after she chased her around the ring, and Candice sold an ankle injury. And as she got back up in the ring, the ref separated the women, and Candice attempted to get the victory with a steal, the roll-up, and then Bayley avoided it and put Candice into a pin and got the victory. So Bayley continuing to at least be on the show, but not doing a whole lot of relevant things. Kind of the story of Bayley's career the last 2 years. She's there, but they don't do a whole lot of important things with her. Now you may say, what are you talking about? She was champion. Yeah, a championship run that was just painfully underwhelming, especially with a talent like Bayley, a proven talent like Bayley. This isn't an experiment or trying to elevate a young talent. This is a proven commodity in Bayley, and I think they've really dropped the ball with her the last couple of years. But she's still on TV, and she's, racking up victories. Okay, I'll take what I can get here. All right, so then we have, let's see here, a pile driver, right? That's the whole pile driver deal. Now, the one thing I didn't mention is when he was having the moment of being rolled into the ambulance, Randy, that is, we had Mr. Suit, Cody Rhodes, come out and sit in the ambulance with him and be Mr. Sympathetic and all the things. And that does make sense given the friendship that these two have, at least for now, until that collapses, which I hope it happens soon. But that is something that, it annoyed me at first because Mr., I got to be there for every big moment to make sure I'm looking like the good guy. And I wear a suit absolutely everywhere. As I've said, I feel like he sleeps in those suits. I'm not kidding. I don't know why he has this need to be in a suit all the time, everywhere. Is it because he feels like he's representing the company everywhere he goes? And I guess to some degree he is, but he's representing a professional wrestling company. All right? He's representing a wrestling company, which they wrestle in. He's not representing, a law firm or a senator's office, although I'm sure he will be at some point. The constant suits, and it's not just on air, it's also in interviews. He's done with Chris Van Vliet and others. I don't know what the obsession is with the suits. He's got to be tired of it. He's always got to be tired of like, oh man, I gotta iron press this and steam that and make sure I don't have any wrinkles in this one, and other rips or tears, or it's a pain in the ass to put in a suit all the time. As a man, we know, right? I mean, I shouldn't be complaining. Women, I think, have it a lot harder when getting ready for any event or anything, right? But when it comes to being as formal as you can possibly be, suit is it, man. And it's just constantly seeing this guy in a suit all the time. It really doesn't make him feel like the common man. I'm really perplexed as to how fans haven't really started to audibly turn on him. I don't know. Maybe they just love the music that much. They want to say, whoa, that much. I don't know. But the pile driver segment happened, as I mentioned, at the top of the show. And there's that. Okay. So, DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa take on Pretty Deadly, Kit Wilson and Elton Prince. This match was really quick, less than 2 minutes. I mean, it was like a women's tag team match here. And Pretty Deadly get the victory. I'm sorry, Pretty Deadly take the loss. DIY wins. And then we go Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, who take on Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax. Oh, I didn't know either. Maybe you guys all knew this. I'm really late to the game. I didn't know Ludwig Kaiser and Tiffany Stratton were a thing. She put out a TikTok or something and then they're in the same hotel room, and he gave her a kiss. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this is happening. So, yeah, I guess I'm really late to the party on that one, but didn't know. So we have Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill again in a tag team match that was admittedly entertaining. It was a match that is as good as it can be, I think, with these 4 women in the ring. What I will say about this is it became abundantly clear to me Jade Cargill isn't in the same universe as Bianca Belair when it comes to talent. She's not even in the same... I can't go any bigger than the universe, so made my point. She's not there. And the reason I say that is when you saw Jade Cargill doing her maneuvers, even the kip up, which looked like it was in slow motion. I mean, it's a difficult thing to do, and not everyone can do it, and that's fine. But when she got the hot tag to Bianca, which is the same formula for every match that they have, because she's not capable of coming in for a hot tag yet, we have Bianca just going to town and doing kip-ups with just triple the ease, and how quickly and effortlessly she was moving in the ring, and her offense was crazy good, and it was just so striking in the ferocity in which Bianca Belair came out of that hot tag. Even Michael Cole was noting about how ferocious she was being. It was like just unleashing a wild animal. I don't know what it was with Bianca last night or 2 nights ago. And so I loved it. But it was not only did I love it and continue to make my case for Bianca getting the hell out of that tag team for really the sake of the women's division at this point, but more importantly, the striking contrast between her and Jade became self-evident. I mean, just there. That's why I don't think, if they split, and they should, I don't think they should have a matchup between these two. At least not right now. Jade is nowhere near ready. She will look like a buffoon in the ring with Bianca, at least from what I've seen. Now, behind the scenes, obviously, I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know. Maybe she has improved at a point where I haven't seen yet. She's hiding all of her new skills, right? Maybe she is. But I think that if you put her in if you saw Bianca in the ring with Jade, it would become abundantly clear that Bianca is carrying that match. I mean, yeah, you have the nice visual. It looks good on a poster. Bianca, I think, would be a good heel to great heel. But right now, not only are you suppressing Bianca Belair for the potential of Jade Cargill's stardom, but you're also, at this point, I think, hurting the women's division. As a whole, Bianca doesn't get any promos anymore. And right now, the women's division needs her. Yes, a returning Charlotte Flair will help. But I've said that for 4 months, and every time I'm done predicting her coming back. Now it'll happen is what? Because now I'm done predicting it. That's how the world works. But I really don't. If they put Bianca in the ring with Jade, from what I'm seeing, again, from the outside, it would be an embarrassment for Jade. Because you'd see Bianca having to hold back. She's the one doing most of the work here. Jade would have her moments of power and flexing and showing off her new outfits. And then Bianca would come in and just kick ass. And the problem is, even though Bianca would be doing a lot of the offense, you would have Jade having to sell it. It's a 2-person job, right? So I just think that this would be a disastrous combination right now as opponents. And again, Perhaps Jade is way better than I'm seeing, and she's made strides in the ring, and but I haven't seen a ton of progress. I really haven't. And you know what? Also, the other thing I'm noticing, the crowd reactions for Jade are not good. They're not where I think WWE wants them to be right now. The crowd reactions for Jade, they're not booing her. They're just not reacting. But what do they have to react to? A woman that says 3 or 4 words and some quips, quick-witted line that was produced for her in a spat backstage, or her Mean Girls attitude, or posting on X about how she smells good. Are those the things fans are supposed to get excited about? No, she looks like $1 million, but I think that card has finally played itself out. Now it's time to see what's beneath the surface. And from so far, what we've seen glimpses of hope, glimpses of progress, but it's not where it should be in the minds of fans, in today's expectations anyway. She might have been able to get away with this back in the early 2000s, late 90s. Absolutely. She would have been looked at as a pioneer in the women's division back then. I mean, she would have been looked at as, Christopher Columbus, discovering new worlds of women's wrestling. That's what she would have been. Because women's wrestling back then was such a joke and totally sexualized. But she would have been the best of both worlds. She has sex appeal, no doubt. But she would have been looked at as kind of the China of her era. But you stick her in 2024, when the expectations of wrestling matches are completely different. The length of the women's matches are completely different. The perception of women's wrestling has changed drastically from sex appeal, gravy bowl matches, bra and panties matches, to Hell in a Cells, to Royal Rumbles, to ladder matches and Money in the Bank ladder matches, to now introducing a mid-card championship, to tag team championships. Things are way different. So my point is, Jade right now is a small fish in a big pond. And from what I'm seeing, I still don't feel she's anywhere near where she needs to be. That's just my take. And I'm done with the experiment here. You can't keep Bianca, who's an all-world talent, in this position anymore. I think you need to move on from the investment. Let her sink or swim. Let Bianca do what she does best, which is have kick-ass matches. Match of the year candidates. I remember what her and Sasha Banks did. Her and Becky Lynch had some pretty good matches too. So it's time. It's just time. I know I'm speaking into the wind here. I'm spitting into the wind, but okay, moving on. Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley took on Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. And this match was nearly the same length as the previous match here with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Pretty damn close, if not identical in terms of length. Maybe a minute or so. But the end of the match was Motor City Machine Guns beating Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, as you would expect, given the Motor City Machine Guns are new on the main roster. Waller and Theory are expected to lose because that's how we've been viewing them the last several months. They have an on-again, off-again relationship. You think they're going to split up. They're not. Oh, here comes Austin Theory's babyface turn. Oh, just kidding. It's not. We don't know what these two guys are right now. But we know the Motor City Machine Guns have been together, and this is a great stat if you didn't already know it, have been together for 20 years in professional wrestling. And so they know what the hell they're doing. And they feel like a well-oiled machine. Pun intended, I guess. And they beat Theory and Waller in 10.5 minutes. And so I liked it. As tag team champions, I think they're representing the belts well. Getting a 10-minute match here was absolutely warranted. And we don't know a whole lot about their personalities. That will need to come. But for now, we know that they're a hell of a hand in the ring. All right. So we then have, let's see, UFC champion Alex Pereira, who is shown in the crowd. And so, well, given they're under the same umbrella of ownership, that makes sense, right? UFC and WWE owned by the same company. Kind of weird. But the introduction of the Women's United States Championship by Nick Aldis. Again, well written, well presented. Nick Aldis is a hell of a GM. I think one of the best GMs SmackDown has ever seen, or GMs, period, that WWE's ever seen. He's just born for this role. He's so good. So, again, I gave my thoughts on the Women's Championship here, the new Women's Championship for the United States Championship. So, I won't say much about it until I see how it's implemented again. Is it exclusive to SmackDown? Is it not? We'll find out. But, all right. We then got Solo Sikoa coming out, demanding that the Buffalo crowd acknowledge him. Roman Reigns comes out, and then Solo said before he has the crowd acknowledge him, he wanted Roman to acknowledge him as the undisputed tribal chief. Roman spoke up, said the crowd, asked the crowd if they acknowledged him, and they booed Solo. Roman said he won't ever acknowledge him, and there was a way he was there to challenge Solo one-on-one, and the winner is the only tribal chief. Solo said he was already the only tribal chief, and in case he hasn't noticed, the people acknowledge him. And he said he can't be a tribal chief without a tribe, and he challenged him to find 4 people who would tag with him. And Roman asked if he was talking about War Games, and Roman replied that he only saw 4, not 5. And Solo then replied the 5th guy was his dog, Sami Zayn. The Bloodline then pounced on Roman Reigns, and Sami comes out on stage. Jimmy and Jay ran past him. They were quickly dispatched by Jacob Fatu. Solo called for Sami to get in the ring and demanded that he kick Roman in the face. Sami backed up into the corner and delivered a kick to the face of Solo. Jacob Fatu comes in. Roman got back up, hit a Superman punch, and then Roman hit a spear on Solo as Jacob Fatu also got a haluva kick. And Jacob Fatu right now, I mean, boy, does he have a presence. They've done a hell of a job with him, the Wolverine here. Great job. He doesn't say a lot, but right now he doesn't really need to. He's all right for now. It's a very solid position. And I love how they protected him here, where he got a Superman punch and then a haluva kick, and it still kept him on his feet. Yes, he got knocked to the outside, but I love that stuff. You know, he didn't get completely laid out. I would argue that they're protecting Jacob Fatu more than they are Solo Sikoa, the leader of that faction. That is that's something that we should take note of. Yes, they're trying to build new stars, but they've been protecting Jacob Fatu since he came in. This isn't just a one-time thing. I mean, has Jacob Fatu lost a match? Has he been pinned? He might have been involved in the side of a losing team, but he has himself not lost. So, and he's been protected and taking 2 finishes and still standing. That's protecting. That's protecting the talent. So they got some big plans and big ideas for Jacob Fatu, and I can't disagree. All right. So this is where the reuniting happens. And this is where Sami looked at Roman in the eyes, and Jimmy and Jay got in the ring. Jay holds up his finger. Jimmy holds up his finger. Roman then did, and the crowd cheered, and that's when Sami did as well. And so everybody holds up their fingers. The ones. They're the ones. I guess we're all the 2s now. We're back to being the 2s. Hope everyone enjoyed being the 1s, because we're back to being the 2s. And they're now completely reunited, except for the Wise Man. I really miss Paul Heyman. Will be the guy to really, I think, put the glue. He's the glue here. He's the guy that manipulates and does it in a charming way and is one of the most beloved managers of all time, advocates or wise men, whatever you want to call it, whatever label you want to give him. He's a manager. He's a manager, and just repackaged as whatever you want to call him, a wise man. But Paul Heyman's return is going to be highly anticipated, and having him get on the mic and them doing all the things they do next week will be fun. And it'd also be interesting to see if they make their way to Raw With Sammy and Jay on Raw, you wonder if this whole group will follow suit. And once again, we're all supposed to forget about the draft rules. At this point, you're tired of me saying it, but I'm just holding WWE to their own rules. That's all I'm doing. No special rules, no special privileges, just the rules that they made themselves. And they continue to violate them with no explanation. Whatever, is what most people say. I say, give me an explanation, even if it's a lazy, lousy one. But I don't know if the full Bloodline will make their way to Raw. I would presume not. Jimmy might. Roman won't. But the full reuniting of the Bloodline, I think, happens next week or at Survivor Series with Paul Heyman as the wise man. We do definitely need him in that group to make it feel totally complete. So definitely looking forward to that. Well, what happened on Raw? We'll give you some highlights here because this is the week in review, not just the SmackDown week in review. So we had, as far as matches go, we had a battle royal for a shot at the women's world title. Again, don't forget, Rhea Ripley's injured. But the match ended in 12 minutes and 40 seconds with Io Sky winning. Really enjoy that. Io Sky versus Liv Morgan will be fun. It will be a fun match. Io Sky back to being a babyface, given the fact that Liv is much more of a heel than Io is at this point. And every time Io gets in the ring, she makes magic. I mean, yeah, she doesn't have a whole lot of mic time, likely because she doesn't speak English very fluently, which does lend itself to some challenges when you have a primarily English-speaking audience. You have a wrestler that can speak broken English, but that only gets you so far until she gets in the ring, and then we all understand her language, which is just brilliant in the ring. I mean, Io Sky is she's underappreciated in her own time right now. So her and Liv Morgan, whenever that match happens, should be a lot of fun. All right, New Day continues to get close to their split. They took on the War Raiders of Eric and Ivar. It lasted 9 minutes, as you'd expect, as the split with the New Day continues. War Raiders beat Kofi and Xavier. We have, again, Sammy backstage. He's trying to make his case, or Jey Uso's trying to make his case to Sammy, and that was obviously prior to SmackDown, so there's no need to really rehash that. A lot of that woven through the show about Sammy not being real family and on and on and on. But all right, Dragon Lee with Chad took on Chad Gable. This match was this deemed a no contest? Was that one of these matches? No. Sorry, it wasn't this match. Dragon Lee beats Chad Gable in 12 minutes. So, again, not a ton of selling in this match, but one that if you're looking for flip-flops and flies, you got it. You got this in a big way. And Dragon Lee beats Chad Gable. We had then Seth Rollins, Damian Priest, Sheamus, Dominic Mysterio, and a fatal four-way for a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. Didn't say when. And yes, Goldberg is looming out there for Gunther, unfortunately. That's kind of confirmed. It's not just innuendo at this point. Goldberg said it verbatim on a college sports show. So, sadly, Gunther may have to suffer through a match with Goldberg. And the sooner that gets over, the better. Maybe they can just do it at a house show and then give us the play-by-play and we'll be good. Even the play-by-play won't take long in a Goldberg match. Maybe that actually may be quicker than watching the match, because you don't have to watch through all the pauses and the setups and all of the pomp and circumstance. Just give us the play-by-play. That actually would be a lot quicker with a Goldberg match. All righty. So, Priest wins this. And Priest won it in 17 and a half minutes. And his match with Gunther might be at the December event, if there is one. Or it could happen on a Raw. They're definitely not shy about giving away title matches of any kind on free TV, which is something. It's unfortunate. That's something that I think it's a sign of the times, yes, but also it takes the specialty and the the feeling out of title matches at all, because you see them all the time, everywhere. They're not just relegated to the PLEs. I remember a time when championship matches actually felt important when they happened outside of a PLE. You're just like, oh my God, what? We're getting a world title match? We're getting a WWE championship match right now? You want some examples? I have a couple. Remember Y2J and Triple H in 2000 with Earl Hebner? When Triple H was forced to putting his title on the line against Jericho, Y2J. Jericho wins it because of a fast count from Earl Hebner. The crowd went insane. And there was a rift between Earl Hebner and Triple H. It eventually got reversed, and Triple H retained, and they struck that from the record and all the rest of it. But that's how crazy it was. Austin beating Kane after the first blood match from King of the Ring in 1998. I remember that. Austin won the championship back from Kane, who held it for a day in the Attitude Era, which is just still mind-boggling. So back in the day, again, I know I always refer to the Attitude Era. I'm the old guy now. But I remember a time, literally, where it felt so special to have a championship match. And today, fans just expect it. But that's not the fans' fault. WWE has conditioned them to expect championship matches. They have told them, hey, you're going to get a tag team match. I mean, we get a tag team title match every single week. I mean, literally. You're going to get world title matches. You're going to get undisputed. Although Cody hasn't, so I'll give WWE that. That's the one championship they have been a little bit hesitant about putting on the line. Although didn't Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns have a cage match on New Year's Eve or something for SmackDown last year, or the year before? So they're not totally strangers to that. But my general point still stands. I just wish they'd go back to making title matches feel special. You know how you do it? Fewer of them. That's all. That's literally it. All you have to do is less of them. You don't have to add anything. It's just taking away something. Do I think they'll do it? No, I don't. But my feeling is Priest is probably going to get that match on Raw. With all that said, Priest and Gunther for the world title is probably going to be on a Raw, and it'll also be likely when Goldberg is about to, or Goldberg hopefully is past at that point, and Gunther retains, and they can put all the obstacles they want in front of Gunther. I still believe he'll make it at least through WrestleMania as champion, or to WrestleMania as champion. This guy just has too much value otherwise. So that, I think, is it for my week in review, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. You can go ad-free over there at the good old Patreon if you like it. And if you're a new member or you're existing, try it if you're existing. I know some of you have messaged me. There's no option when I created the discount for me to include new or existing members. So keep trying. The code is Bloodline. All right, that's the discount code. And if you are new or you're thinking about becoming a new member, Patreon right now, again, this is only going on for another couple more days. 50% off for the entire year. That means you essentially get 6 months for free, because you're only paying for 6 months, no matter what tier you pick, and the other 6 are free. That's how big of a discount this is, because I believe once you join our group and you're in our little wrestling family here, that you'll stick around. That's really the point of this, because I think sometimes you're hesitant. Everybody's pinched for money and time, and you're like, I don't want another subscription. I'm with you. I don't either. But I'm offering a discount to get you in the door. 6 months for free is essentially what I'm offering for 50% off. So check it out. Use the code Bloodline over at Patreon if you're not already there. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening. I'll be back on Tuesday with the Raw review. Enjoy the week, everybody. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.